Hi, third grade. Today I'm going to be starting a new math topic with you. We are actually going to go ahead and skip topic 5, where it's still talking about multiplication and division. We are actually going to go ahead and move on to topic 6, which is connect area to multiplication and addition. So area, we are going to learn about area. Area is trying to count the units of squares that it takes to cover a certain shape. So it's actually pretty easy. You're just basically counting squares on a shape to figure out how big it is. So go ahead and turn to your big green math book. You should be on page 209 with your solve and share. Let me go find in my solve and share. Okay, so today your solve and share is
through C on Area of Shapes teaching tool. How many square tiles do you need to cover each shape? Show your answers. Explain how you decided.
So actually, in your book, you do not have shapes A through C on Area of Shapes teaching tool. I have that in the classroom. It was actually blocks that I had to give you guys. So what I went ahead and did is I created a little sheet for you that will show you what the shapes were supposed to look like. So this is what shape A looks like, shape B looks like, and then shape C. So what they want you to do is just to count the number of squares that you see colored in for each shape, and then let me know what color or what number of squares you got. Okay, so for shape A, you just needed to count how many squares you got. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We know that there are 9 square tiles in shape B, or shape A, I'm sorry, shape A. Okay, then moving on to shape B, how many square tiles you need to cover this shape? Or how many square tiles take over this shape? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We know we need 8, or there's 8 there. And then moving on to shape C, how many tiles do you need there? You would need, or you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There are 16 tiles needed to make that shape. And that's all you need to do for the solve and share. And then at the bottom where it says your look back, let's move this over. Your look back says, if I can find the text, your look back says, can you be sure you have the accurate answer if there are no gaps in between the tiles you use? Explain. Yes, you can make sure that you have the accurate answer, because if there's gaps, the only way to make a shape like this and you can count the square tiles is there has to be no gaps in between. So you can't have, in order for it to be a shape, you can't make a shape that looks like has a color here. Let's say this color, let's say we have a color here and we have a color here. This cannot be a shape because they are not connected. So in order for it to be a shape and you can count the square tiles, you have to have all the squares at least touching. You can't have a gap somewhere in the middle. Oh, I'm trying to move my text box. So at your look back, go ahead and write if there are gaps between the tiles, then the shape is not complete. Okay, so that is your look back and your solve and share. Okay, so go ahead and move on to page 210, and we're going to go on to Fred.
How do you measure area? Think about this question during the lesson. Emily made a collage in art class. She cut shapes to make her design. What is the area of this shape? Area is the number of unit squares needed to cover a region with no gaps or overlaps. A unit square is a square with sides that are each 1 unit long. A unit square has an area of 1 square unit. Here is the unit square for this lesson. Why do you need a unit square to find the area of a shape? You need to know the size of the square you are using to cover the shape. If your square is a different size, bigger or smaller, a different number of unit squares would cover the same area. How many unit squares cover Emily's shape? The exact count is the area of the shape.
Cover the shape. Oh, I guess I could just make this talk.
Cover the shape with unit squares to find its area.
Okay, so we want to find the area of the shape. So the area of the shape is whatever is colored inside of this big grid. So we're going to go ahead and cover these shapes. Oh man, this is going to take me a while to figure out how many squares take up this whole shape. So far I've gotten 8. Ah! 12, 13, 14. Almost there about. Oh, well, okay. Let's see. Oh, well. These squares obviously do not like me, but okay. Almost done, almost done, almost done, almost done, almost done. And, oh, okay. And, yay! So that shape is 36 square units because it took 36 little boxes to make that shape.
36 square units cover this shape. The area of the shape is 36 square units. To prevent losing your place while counting the squares, it may help you to number each square as you count. Is there a way to find the number of unit squares that cover Emily's shape without counting each one? Explain your thinking.
So one way you can find the area is if you looked when I was making those squares, each little square is kind of like an array. So what you could do is break these into smaller arrays, find out what the total is, and add them. That's one way that I thought of.
You could divide the shape into a 3 by 8 rectangle and a 3 by 4 rectangle. To find the squares that cover the top rectangle, count 8 squares in each row. Then multiply by 3 rows to find 24 squares. To find the squares that cover the bottom rectangle, count 4 squares in each row. Then multiply by 3 rows to find 12 squares. 24 plus 12 equals 36. The area of Emily's shape is 36 square units. Sometimes you can estimate the area. You can combine partially filled squares to help you estimate full squares. First, count the number of full unit squares. There are 23 of them. Next, combine partially filled unit squares to help you estimate the number of full unit squares. About 27 unit squares cover this shape. The area of the shape is about 27 square units. Now you know how to find the area of a figure by counting the number of unit squares that cover that figure.
Great job!
So before I move on to your convince me, I'm going to actually go over one part with you because it kind of went a little bit fast. But if you noticed on the shape with the circle, they wanted you to count the squares. The only thing is with a circle, obviously, you can't get perfect squares on the edges because they're round. So what you do is you count the inside of the squares that are perfect, and then where you see the little, where you see the squares that have half of the circle on them, you combine them. So a half and a half, if you combine them, it's going to make a full square. So that's how they got these. They connected these two, connected these two, connected these two, and connected those. So those would make whole pieces. Okay, so moving on to your convince me. Go ahead, do your convince me, and your convince me is...
Karen says these shapes each have an area of 12 square units. Do you agree with Karen? Explain.
Okay, so Karen says that each of these shapes both have an area of 12. So all you need to do is count the squares and then figure out how many square units each shape is. So we can start with this blue one first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we know that the blue one is right. But then let's go ahead and do the circle. So this one is going to count as a full square. So actually I should make that a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But then we have these half pieces. So if we combine a half and a half, that'll make one whole square. So this will be 9. And then another half and a half, that's going to make another whole number. That will give us a total of 10. So we know that the orange shape has 10 square units and the blue shape is 12 square units. So they are not both 12. So at the bottom, or if you want to, actually, yeah, sorry, at the bottom, go ahead and write no. The blue shape has an area of 12 square units, but the red or orange, I'm going to say that's orange, but the orange shape has an area of about, kind of estimated, of about 10 square units. So Karen was wrong. Wahahaha. Okay, so that is it for your convince me. We are going to go ahead and move on to your guided practice, and I will do some of it with you. On to your guided practice. It is on page 211. Today you only need to do numbers 1 through 7, so super easy. I would recommend that you start up here where it says another example because it will help you with number 1. So I will actually go ahead and do number 1 and 2 with you, and then you can do 3 and 7 by yourself. So Emily wants to cover this octagon. If she tries to cover it using square units, there will be gaps or overlaps. Emily can break the square into 2 same-sized triangles. She can cover the shape completely using this triangle. So she just broke it into squares. She broke it into squares, and then she made them smaller by breaking them into triangles. 14 triangles cover the octagon. The area of the octagon is 7 square units. So if you see, she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She has 5 squares. And then if you do the same thing where you combine the halves, so this half and this half, you will have 7 square units. So number 1, how do you know the area of the octagon is 7 square units? You know that, I know that 2 triangles, so since those are in half, so since these ones are cut in half, I know 2 triangles combined make 1 square unit. So 14 triangles combined make 7 square units. Good. Okay, and then going to number 2, explain how finding the area of a shape, so how many squares are inside, is different than finding the length of a shape. So how is finding the area and the length of something different? So length, when we're doing length, we are actually just measuring the side of a shape. We're not counting what's inside. We just want to figure out how long the sides of that shape is. Whereas for area, we're trying to figure out how many square units are inside. So we can say that length is a measurement of a side, and area is a measurement of how many unit squares are inside a shape. There you go. Okay, go ahead and move on to 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You just need to tell me how many square units are in each shape. And you can go ahead and estimate, like for these ones, you're not going to get an exact number because you have some triangles right there. You just try your best and try to combine them. So what I would do is I would combine maybe this one and this one with these ones up here and see what you get. Most of these answers you're going to have to estimate, so nothing really right or wrong, just try your best. Okay, so I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.